Hey, what's going on everybody? My name's Gary. Welcome back to my channel, Foundry RC, the best place to be your need for everything RC. Alright guys, so I'm going to try to put out a new series for you guys called Wrenching Wednesdays. I'm going to try to put out a video every Wednesday, hopefully every Wednesday, don't hold me to that just yet, but on Wednesdays, and it's going to be either a how-to or just some wrenching going on with the cars and whatnot. In this episode, I'm going to show you guys how to install a 4-link suspension system on a Primal monster truck. Specifically, in this video, I'm going to be installing the Johnny Crash Racing 4-link extended suspension kit. I'm going to be removing the Primal RC extended suspension kit to put it in. Alright, I hope you guys liked the video. If you do, please, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're not already. Thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below. Give me some suggestions what you want to see in the future and we'll go from there. Alright, let's get into the video. Okay, so in this portion of the video, I'm going to show you how to install the links and the tools that are required. So for this assembly, you're going to need a 14mm wrench, a 13mm wrench, a 10mm wrench, a 6mm Allen wrench, and some Loctite. All right, so we're going to begin the install by first uninstalling the old, I have the extended Primal links on here. First step we're going to do is we're going to remove the top one over here. So you're just going to get yourself the 6mm Allen wrench and loosen it on up. When removing the bolt, you're going to want to hold your hand underneath and you're going to catch the two spacers that fall out with it. So you got the one larger one and the smaller. For your lower links, you're going to want to get your 10mm wrench and put on the slotted portion of this crossbar right over here. And then you're going to take your 6mm Allen key and loosen up the bottom one. You need to do this because this piece will usually rotate and prevent you from getting it out. All right, on this one, you're going to have two small spacers that drop out, so you're going to want to catch those too. All right, go ahead and repeat the same thing for the other side. Next up, we're going to remove our front wheel. Then we're going to take our 13mm wrench and put on the nut on the backhand side of the bolt and our 6mm wrench and loosen up the front piece. It helps if you have a longer piece so it doesn't get in the way of the wheel. Okay. And then when we remove the nut, there's going to be two washers in here, two spacers. And next up, we're going to remove the front of the upper arm. This is where you're going to use your 14mm wrench, and you're going to put it right on here. That will help it from rotating as you're trying to loose it. So get your wrench in there, and right on the little centerpiece right here, and then go ahead and take your 6mm Allen wrench and loosen it up. And again, you'll have two spacers. So the spacers are with the cone side towards the ball. That's how they're going to go back in on the new set. Just a quick mention, when you're removing the upper link on whichever side you have these servo wires on, you're going to want to make sure that you unplug the servos before you loosen it because you don't want to cause a snag and do it. So just make sure you unplug these, and then if you want, you can cut this off because you have to remove it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the other side, and then I'll continue with the install. All right, we're going to begin the install now. You just got to remember, of the two links, the longer one is the lower of the two, and the shorter one is the upper link. When you look on the links, you'll see these two rings on one side. That marks where the reverse threads are. Now, aesthetically, I have chosen to put where the rings are to the center of the truck, so I have all mine going that way. Makes it everything, when you go to adjust it, everything turns the same direction from the front, and everything turns the opposite direction in the rear. You can install whatever you want. I'm going to be putting them with the rings toward the center of the truck instead of towards the axles. And I'm going to do the lower links first. Another thing I do is I tighten them all the way up, and it's not possible to get the two ends to line up. One is always going to be a little bit off tilted from the other one. So what I'm doing is I'm leaving it completely tight on the inner one, and the outer one is the one I'm turning to make it so it fits in the connection. I'll explain it a little bit better when I actually do it. Let's go ahead and begin the install, and I'm going to make sure they're nice and tight because I want them all the way closed when I'm installing them. So for the lower link, you're going to take the screw with the two spacers on it. You're going to take the spacers off, put the screw in, put the one spacer on with the flange facing the link. Then you're going to put the link on. Okay, so I think I got the camera in there. It just focused on the wrong thing. Come on, why'd you do that, camera? Don't do that to me. There we go. We're focusing right over here. So what we want to do is we're going to get the screw in. We're going to put one of these washers on the screw. And sorry about that. The camera is deciding what it wants to focus on all by itself. All right, so we're going to put the screw through. Going to put the beveled washer on. We're going to put the link on next. And then my favorite part, try to get the other bevel washer in there without it dropping, which that one went pretty easy actually. All right, and then I gotta take the whole thing apart because I forgot to put Loctite on it. So we're gonna put a drop of Loctite on there. Then we're gonna stick the screw through, put the beveled washer on with the bevel side towards the link, install the link, and then the other beveled washer also towards the link. I'm sorry, I know my hand's in the way, but this is really difficult to get in there. There we go. All right, so now the bevel is in there and it's facing both sides. So now we're going to go ahead and tighten this up. You're going to need your 10 millimeter wrench to put on the cross member over there. Let's tighten it up. All right, nice and snug. And I believe you can see that the bevels are in, and that's the lower link installed. Let's go do the upper one over here. Okay, again, I'm going with the reverse threads towards the center, making sure it's nice and tight, closed all the way. So we're gonna stick the screw in. We're gonna put the bigger spacer in first. Then we're gonna put a little bit of Loctite on because it's not easy to get it afterwards. So I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on there. All right, so we got the big spacer on. We're gonna go put the link on next. And the other spacer. Which I find this, like I said, the most difficult part to do. And you know what, let's loosen this one a little bit. That helps ease that one up a little bit. All right, let's tighten this one up. Sorry about that, I was having focus issues, but we're installing it. We got both bevels in. I'm gonna tighten this up. Okay, and the bottom one I'm gonna tighten up. So I wouldn't fully tighten the bottom one because it makes it a little difficult to get that last spacer in over there. So tighten that one up after you get that top one in also. Let's take the 10 millimeter wrench, put it on this piece in the middle here, and now let's tighten this one up. Nice and snug. Now we got them connected. They float freely, they move freely, and everything's good. Now we're gonna move on to the front part. All right, now we're gonna do what I call the most difficult part of this entire build, the entire truck actually. I find it really hard to get these two beveled spacers over here without dropping it. So I get the first one on no problem. The second one, I have not found an easy way. So I might speed this up a little bit, but we'll see. I'm just gonna go and stick this through. To show what I was talking about, this is the front end of it. We have the whole thing completely tight. If I turn it this way, it loosens up. So I'm gonna turn it completely tight. And then obviously this one does not line up where it needs to be. So this one I hand loosen just the half turn it takes to make it where it needs to be. This one here is completely taut on the other end, and this end is just a half turn loose so it lines up correctly. And that's just something I do, a little tip for everybody else if they want to keep it so they have the maximum adjustment available to them. All right, so let's go and get this installed. So we're going to stick the screw through, then we're going to put one of the washers on, one of the spacers, then the link. I'm going to move the axle in so it reaches and push it through a little bit more. All right, I'm already having some difficulty. I'm going to go around to this side. Yep, we got it. So I managed to get it in. What I ended up doing, I don't know if it's going to help anybody. There's probably better ways than what I'm doing. I put the one washer in, then the link, then I put the screw all the way through. Then what I did was I put the other spacer up against the screw and I slowly pulled the screw back out until it allowed it to go in. I pushed it up and then shoved it through, some wiggling, and it went in. That's what worked for me. Not saying it's going to work for you, but if you guys know any better way, please go ahead and put in the comment down below. Let me know better way to do this here. All right, I'm gonna go and put the nut on the other side, and we're gonna need the 13 millimeter wrench, and we're gonna tighten this one up. Now we're going to install the upper link. With it fully tightened, we have a little bit of a turn to loosen it again to make it line up. This one's significantly easier. We're going to put the small spacer on the screw first. Then we're going to put it through the link. Then we're going to put the big spacer on. And then we just thread it in. We'll put a little Loctite on it actually too. All right, I made an adjustment to the camera angle so we can go get this one tightened up. So I'm extending the lower link out to get the shock strut out of the way because I don't want to take the shocks off right now, so I'm leaving them on, so I just don't want to mar it up with my tool here when I'm going into it. All right, a little bit more room. Let's Bring this out a little bit further. Now we're gonna go and tighten it up. Cinch it down. All right, after that, you have your 4 linkings set up. Next would be to go ahead and re-zip tie up your wires so they don't get caught in anything, and then adjust your linkage to your liking. And once you have it where you like it, if you bring it all the way out, you take the little nut on the end and you screw that right up to the linkage where you want it, lock it down, and it locks it in place. I would probably put a little Loctite on that too. I'm gonna see what happens if I don't put Loctite, but yeah, it can't hurt to put a little Loctite on that nut once you lock it into the spot you want it at. And make sure that you have your truck settled and how it rides. I notice a lot of people have their trucks jacked up kind of high. So if your truck is jacked up high, make sure that your axle is not how this one is right now. If you look on this one, it's got a little bit of a kink going on to it because I didn't set it up yet. You want that to be as straight as you possibly can make it with these links. And that is the reason to get these links. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. I had a little bit of focusing problems with the camera, but I'm going to get that worked out for the next one. I think I learned how to lock the focus, so I shouldn't have that issue going forward. Please go ahead and hit a comment down below. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thumbs up if you liked it. Thumbs down if you didn't. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.